Evil Dead is one of those franchises where good just doesn't cut it. You can give me blood and guts, flying body parts, and folk being folded like wet deck chairs. But if it's no got that Evil Dead feeling, that horrible wee spark, then I am out. So, does Evil Dead Burn actually have that? Let's find out together. And on that note, roll the intro. Welcome to Rotten Rewind, the home of all things horror. Right, so a new Evil Dead kid got shot out into the family, right? Evil Dead Burn. And before we get into the full review, I'm going to keep this bit spoiler free, alright? So if you've not seen it yet and you just want to know like the general vibe, whether it feels like an Evil Dead, if it's worth your time, if it delivers in all the nastiness, then you're safe for now. But once we cross that line, that's it. I'll be talking plots, kills, Deadites, lore, post-credit scene, the lot, alright? And I'll mark it in the timestamps as well for when it actually starts and when the spoilers end. So I love the Evil Dead franchise, as I've spoke about loads of times before. It's been ingrained on my very soul from a young age. Like, we're talking like over 30 years now, like 30 odd years, I have loved it. So every time there's a new Evil Dead film, I'm obviously super excited, but also very fucking nervous. So Evil Dead Burn is directed by Sebastian Fanicek. I think that's the pronunciation. But he did Infested, and you can absolutely feel that he's no messing about here. He's no here for a nice cozy wee, like, nostalgia family trip, right? And the setup is simple enough. Alice loses her husband and ends up back with the husband's family after the funeral. And obviously being Evil Dead, grief doesn't stay grief for very long. It gets teeth, weird voices, blood. And before you know it, the entire family are all kicking fuck at each other. And what I will say without spoilers is that there is a load of stuff that I really liked in this Evil Dead. The tone is brutal, the setting gives like a nice fresh flavour, and the gore, of course, has some excellent moments. And it does try to build on the lore, but like in a genuinely interesting way. But it's also not perfect. And there are a lot of things in it that really started to fucking bug me. Like, a lot of choices that you're just kind of sitting like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing this? And just like, there was a few places where I just wanted a wee bit more of that classic Deadite personality. Like, just being horrible, laughing their heads off about it, taking the piss out you. Because to me, that's what made Evil Dead stand out. But aye, if you love Evil Dead, you should definitely go see it. 100%. But anyway, that's the spoiler-free bit, right? That's all you're getting. From this point on, there shall be spoilers. So they hath been warned. Right, let's get into it. Okay, so the film opens exactly where an Evil Dead film should open. The OG tape recorder, we all know the one. Somebody talking about the Book of the Dead. Transcripts from the Necronomicon itself. And just the feeling of like, somebody is about to make a dreadful, horrible life choice. And then we move on to the lake scene. Two dickheads out fishing, one steps away for a wee phone call, and then the other one gets a wee tug on the line, and obviously it's Evil Dead, so it's not got to be a lovely little rainbow trout. It's a head. Not even a full person, just a head. And it's a scalped head. All rotted to fuck. It looks gross. And then it clicked. This kind of looks like the same lake from Evil Dead Rise, doesn't it? That head is definitely Jessica for Evil Dead Rise, I'm telling you. The lassie from the opening of Evil Dead Rise who got scalped. So straight away, Evil Dead Burn is telling you this is no like completely separate. There is some sort of connection here. This is part of the same spreading Deadite infection. And I loved that straight away. Fucking hooked me in like the fucking rainbow trout I am as well. And then all of a sudden, the fishing line explodes out the water, wraps around the guy and drags him in. Class. Actually, it kind of reminded me of that scene for the Poltergeist. I think it was a Poltergeist, the braces, with the wire and the braces, like, just started coming out. Don't know why, but it was a cool scene, class. Then his wee pal comes back, oh, what's going on? Tries to help him, poos him up, and he's basically just pulled like half a person, and there was a hole where the face should be. There was a hole here, it's gone now. Lovely stuff. And then the guy gets knocked out the boat, and then the lake starts to boil. He's getting cooked alive. And then, like, he crawls out. He looks like he's been fucking pressure cooked in some, like, demonic Deadite soup. The guy's dead. Deadite walks out his hand, and it just falls apart like fucking slow-cooked pork. Deadite wanders out, then she gets absolutely leathered by a car, which then leads us on to a character called Will. Total prick. We meet him at a club with his wife Alice, his brother Joseph, and I think it's the brother's girlfriend Thea. And as I say, Will is a complete dickhead, and it's no in like he's just a wee bit flawed way. He's controlling, aggressive, abusive. They get a wee argument, he storms off, drives like an absolute maniac, and then he's the one who actually leathered the Deadite with his car. The car flips, and then this is the first proper, like, Evil Dead camera angle we get, which I fucking love. Swoop, the swirl, this camera's possessed itself. Oh, fucking shite joke, I know, right? The Deadite's in the car with him, through the windscreen, neck torn open. Absolutely torn. And then it starts turning towards him, and then the head just falls off, rolls out the car, and then she tells him that we found you, lead us to your family, or something like that. So I'm like, right, what the fuck's his family got to do with this? We're hooked. Then it starts giving it some, like, Necronomicon incantations or some shit, right? Just saying it, and each word that said, the car got more and more on fire. More panic, more, you are utterly fucked. And I'm actually quite glad about that. So what'd you think of that, And the car just fucking goes up in a ball of flames. And the Deadite head is just sat there, laughing her head off at him, burning. And that's like the Deadite energy that I fucking love. That's what made it stand out to me when I was younger. Like, these demons were like nasty, serious beings. They were taking the piss out of you, and it was just so fucking funny. And after that, bang, title card appears. Honestly, brilliant, excellent intro. The detached Deadite head laughing at that guy was just fucking the cherry on top. Such a great intro. Cinema. Then we jump forward to the funeral. Alice is now a widow, obviously. Joseph is Will's brother, as I say. Thea is the girlfriend, and we meet the rest of the family as well. Immediately, you understand the family are all a bunch of arseholes. The dad, Edgar, looks like a total bastard before he even opens his mouth, which is excellent casting, by the way. And there's more sort of like dark humour here, like the funeral was next to some construction site, and they're trying to do the wake, and all you hear is like the mental construction noises outside, so it's quite funny. Eventually though, the body gets taken away to be cremated. The crematorium guy is this guy who's listening to music and like rapping along to it, and you're just kind of like, right, he's got to hear the worst fucking shift of his life. Dad Edgar comes in and wants to say one more goodbye to his precious little prick dickhead son, but then he hears knocking on the coffin. Surely no. And he thought, Will might have survived the car exploding and him burning for fuck knows how long. So he tries to get the coffin open, and then a burnt hand comes out, still kind of embering, and burns the dad's arm. That is how the Deadite infection starts. Come on! And then dickhead Will, all burnt, gets out the coffin and then just massacres the poor crematorium guy. And you didn't really properly see it. You just see like the blood and like guts kind of spurting out, which is a bit of a shame, but it's fine. We get the idea. So somehow nobody notices this. The dad just goes back to the car. He's peeping like fuck. The family get in, then they piss off to this house that they've left. Joseph, their other son. Now, the house looks incredible. Like, it's manky as fuck. Like, I could smell the damp coming off it. And then it kind of gives you a wee, like, sort of family overview at this point. And this is where we actually find out the voice that we heard from the OG tape at the very start is actually the granddad. So the granddad was involved in some cult that was like fighting against Deadites. And I really like this, like it brings in Evil Dead lore and kind of starts to like build on it. We get references to the Necronomicon, the Kandarian Dagger, research into the Deadites, and then eventually the idea of the Wise Men. And I think this is meant to be the cult, so it's like a group who were formed around fighting these things. And Evil Dead, I mean, it's got so much old, ancient lore kicking about. Army of Darkness, for example, that's got like loads of medieval Kandar stuff. The Wise Man, the multiple books, the prophecies, all of that shite. So Evil Dead Burn bringing in this idea of a group researching Deadites and weapons that actually work against them was pretty cool to me, which means there's multiple poor bastards that thought, reading this old fleshy book that I found in a cabin or wherever is a great idea. So anyway, it gets to the point where everybody's just pretending to be normal. The dad's getting more and more aggro. The mum's cooking this meal. The meal looks shite, by the way, but you're starting to feel the vibrations of evil here. Oh my God. Speaking of the food, she serves up this mashed totty or mashed potatoes, and they look fucking shit. They look like cum, I'm not gonna lie. And it's dripping down the dad's chin, and it is fucking disgusting. Worst looking mashed totties I've ever seen. I'd kick up fuck. Like, if I was getting possessed after eating that shit, I'd be like, just take me. Take me straight to hell. I'll be better than this. Eventually, Edgar snaps, grabs the poor wee dog, and then forks it to death. And it works for this scene because it's now telling you we're not just dealing with like an angry, rotten dad here. This is something else. Something evil. Anyway, dad like passes out her son. Joseph and Thea try to get him in the car and then shoot off to the hospital. Then we get the car scene. So they're driving to the hospital. Edgar wakes up. Full Deadite mode has been activated, right? And he just starts battering Thea. Like, absolutely annihilating her. Once Thea's down, he tries to go after Joseph. And then Thea kind of comes to and then tries to get out the car, which is stopped now. And we've seen this in the trailer, but she puts her hand out to get out the car door. But then the dad shuts the door and traps her fingers on it, and she pulls her hand in. She's got no fingers. The remaining fingers are on the car door. Now, Joseph has a chance to actually stop the dad, but he chooses not to. So whilst his girlfriend is getting beat up, he just escapes through the sunroof and legs it. Now, this was a wee pattern for me, but this is like the third horrible man in this film. But I'll get to that later. But you're like, come on to fuck. Like, I know your dad has become essentially a demon, but your bird's still in the car. Do you want to maybe like do something about that rather than look her in the eyes as you escape? And then the dad just rips the headrest off, puts it through her head, and then that's her. Whee! Dead. It's brutal. But then it starts snowing. Honestly, Evil Dead with snow. I've spoke about this in the past. Blood in the snow, just any snowy horror is just, it looks incredible to me. It's not a pure blizzard or anything like that. It's quite like a nice like falling snow. We've done the woods, cabins, cities, apartments, medieval deserts, rain, blood, mud, all of that. Never snow. Now back at the house, Alice is doing the classic Evil Dead mistake, but I'm fine with that. She's reading things that she shouldn't really be reading. She's looking through notes, translations, references to the Kandarian Dagger. So Joseph gets back to the house terrified, useless, covered in the weakling energy of a man who's just abandoned his girlfriend. But then there's a knock at the door. Pray tell, who is it? It's Thea, the girlfriend that I just left. And she's still got the headrest through her face. Now this is where it properly starts to kick off, and honestly Thea I think is probably like one of the best Deadites in this. They're all quite different, but I think she gives like the most humour. So she comes in, rips the headrest out her face, and I immediately just almost try to like do a Deadite show off. Like she goes up and she like drinks the candle, like, oh, you're mental, oh. Like, what you try to do here? I'd be embarrassed if you done that. Like, calm yourself, sit down, sit on the couch right now, and call me daddy. But after that, all hell breaks loose, and then we get a nice wee one-shot sequence as they fight through the house here. But eventually they kick Thea down into the basement. She folds over herself in a horrible but funny, like, broken neck way. Then they try to escape, but who's outside? Daddy Deadite. And Deadite dog is there. That's right. There is a Deadite fucking dog in this. Now, I'm not really too sure about how I feel about this. I think this is the first time they've had a Deadite dog in the films. I think there was some in the games, if I remember right, but I don't know. I think if it, like, mutated into something horrible rather than just looking like a dog with, like, glowing eyes, it would have been a wee bit better. But then Edgar pulls out the firearm thing. I have no idea what I need to call this on YouTube, Like, pew pew, I have no idea, right? But he bang, bang, bang in his face, in his head, 3 times. Like, under the chin, the mouth, the head. The mouth one's very cool. It's like a slow motion, and you just see the entire mouth light up as it, like, goes through him. So, it's very, very cool seeing it. And this is where we see, like, Daddy Deadite in the snow with, like, half his face missing, giving them a wee wave. Hee-oo! His class in that image is, like, it's stuck with me. Also, we've actually got a gran in the house as well. She's got dementia. She's both, like, hilarious, and it's just a wee bit sad. She's oblivious, accusing Thea of, like, stealing her money, whilst actual demons are fucking running about. Again, mere dark humour. All good for an Evil Dead. So because the gran is a wee bit confused, she lets Thea out for the basement. And then this is where we get the dishwasher scene from the trailer. Ugh, aye. It's hideous. Like, it made me jolt. Joseph falls back onto the dishwasher with all the knives sticking up. And then Thea just jumps on top of him and pushes him down further. Oh, I could just imagine him scrape him off your spine. And then she comes out with a belter of a line. I was your first, and I'll make sure I'm your last. Oh. Terrible girlfriend, but he deserves every little bit of that from her, in my opinion. Joseph manages to find a corkscrew and then bangs it in her neck, but she's a Deadite, so she just grabs it and then pulls it from right to left, which was gross. Thea then fucks off and finds the gran, and she takes her false teeth out and then, like, licks and sucks them and then put them back in the gran's mouth. So I'm like, okay, here's our point of infection. It was fucking disgusting though, the noise. It was funny, That's the type of Deadite pish-taking and cruelty that I love. Alice comes out of nowhere and then smashes Thea down the stairs. When she lands, Joseph finally grows like a set of bollocks and then manages to smash his own girlfriend's face in, brutally, by the way. That first hit, the crack and the nose just, like, goes down into the face. Oh, Aye, he's not got an issue, like, killing a Deadite daddy, but Deadite bird is absolutely fine. Fair enough, whatever. But the effects are very, very cool at this bit. Very cool. And this is definitely one of the places where the film 100% delivers. Then we start getting a wee bit more of the lore again. And we find out that they're after the book or the weapon, the dagger, whatever piece of anti-Deadite equipment that the granddad was looking for. And we also get hints here that there might be more than one Kandarian style weapon, which was pretty cool. Then we cut to Susan, the mum, who's putting the gran to bed like everything's fucking normal. Susan, the mum, is broken, right? She wants her family back. She wants her son back. She wants her mum to be all right. She wants to believe that normal is still possible. So when the gran suddenly becomes a bit more lucid and speaking to her in a way that she maybe hasn't heard in a long time, she wants to believe it. But obviously it's a fucking Deadite. And that's what Deadites do. They just slap you, maim you, whatever. Find the soft bit and they keep poking at it until your entire mental state collapses. So the gran is now fully Deadite consumed. She's toothless, horrible, a gummy old bitch. And because Susan's so broken down, she lets Daddy Deadite, Edgar, back in and they start kissing. She's kissing the Deadite daddy. And it is horrible, like full blood tongue French kissing action, stringy saliva, the lot. Absolutely rotten. It's bogging, but the idea is good. The Deadites are using that family dynamic, like the need to belong, the need to fix grief, the desperation to have the family, like, whole again. And after that hideous, disgusting kiss, we see Susan's eye starts to go a wee bit Deadite-like. And from there, we get another amazing one-shot sequence. This one's actually from the trailer as well. Joseph, the son, has been absolutely chucked about like a fucking empty tracksuit, right? And Alice is just crawling about the chaos. Because Edgar's in the house, he's just went full bastard mode. And this is where we see him like do the wee Deadite float, which I'm a wee bit gutted about because that's like the only time you really see it in the entire film, which was a bit shit. So I really wish there was more of it, because that's the thing, like wee touches like that really hit home that this is an Evil Dead film. No just like violent, possessed people, but supernatural, cheeky, floating, mocking, giggling little corpse puppet arseholes. So Alice finally kind of kicking about, she finds a saw. It's like this circular hedge trimmer saw thing, and she starts looking for the dagger that she read about earlier, but the Gran sneaks up on her and starts kicking the absolute fuck out of her. There is just something inherently hilarious that a Deadite Gran is battering somebody like she's annoyed that she never won at the bingo. Do you know what I mean? And then another absolute gross thing happens. Alice gets the sharp fountain pen stabbed right into her ear. It's giving me goosebumps now. The noise is awful. It's like you're kind of rubbing the mic. So really, really like excellent sound work here. Properly makes like your body fold in on itself. But Alice doesn't go down at this point. She fights back against the Gran. It eventually ties her to her own chairlift and then presses the button and it just slowly drags her away. And then she goes and she tries to pull out the pen. She pulls out the pen, but the head is still stuck in. So she needs to get tweezers, and then she's like wiggling it and pulling it out. Oh, it is minging, eh? Now we cut back to the mum, who is finally turned full Deadite, and we get the line, "Dead by dawn," screaming it. It was great. It was class. Excellent wee nodder. So Alice is now fighting the mum. Honestly, the ma is like flying about the room. Alice eventually gets like this plastic razor and just starts like shaving the mum's skin off. It's hideous, but I mean, in that situation, you would grab anything you could. She gets away, she gets the saw back, and then she actually uses it to cut through the attic so she can get up and then find the dagger. She finds loads of daggers, and then Joseph, the little weakling wet blanket, breaks through the attic floor, and then we can see at this point that he is now Deaditified. So she starts just using every single dagger on him. Stab, bang, that one doesn't work, bang, next one, bang, 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 bang. We actually see the Kandarian Dagger from number 2 here as well, but that doesn't work, funnily enough, which I thought was quite interesting. Made me start to think, like, I wonder if these Deadites are from like a different book, and maybe the dagger that we've seen before just doesn't work on these Deadites because of that. Who knows? But then one of them eventually does work, and then you can see it cures Joseph's like Deaditism. His eyes return to normal. He realizes what's going on, and then he falls down. He's dead. Now, this is where the film starts to kind of slide a little bit pretty quickly downhill. Alice has got the dagger, right? She's just proved it works. Now, the mum is still trying to get in, and instead of just using the dagger, Alice takes the saw, throws it out the window, and then jumps out the window herself, climbs onto the roof, drops the dagger, obviously, and then, I don't know, it starts to feel like the script's almost like wrestling itself at this point. Like, I get it. If she just uses a dagger on every single one of them, then the film's over. But you need to build that into the story. Make it so like the dagger, I don't know, like burns her hand, or it needs like a certain ritual, or like you can only use it once, and then I don't know. Make the Deadites like actively stop her, make the house shift, make something happen other than I'm just not going to use this because I'm an idiot, and then just go a different route. So anyway, back on the roof, we get the roof crawling scene here, which again we've seen in the trailer. This is where the CGI gets a lot more noticeable, and I really didn't like it. Deadites crawling all over a roof is like fine in theory, but it starts to feel less Evil Dead at this point and more like big digital finale. Also, why are they crawling? They can levitate. Just levitate up. Anyway. So Alice jumps down the chimney with the saw, and the mum comes down after her. So Alice fires up the saw, and then the mum just goes right on it, and we cut down to the fireplace, and we just see blood, guts, and a head fall, which is a cool idea and it was a cool death. Then Alice back in the house meets Edgar again, the Deadite daddy, and then she cuts him in half. His head splits and then you just see the eyes look up like that as the head splitting open. Cool visual, but again, the CGI was rip-roaring here. Like, you could have used really cool practical effects for that. Really cool, and just a wee bit of, like, CGI buttoning. You know what I mean? Then the house burns. It's a blaze. Alice runs out, and then Deadite Doggy gets her. She wakes up, though, and guess who's back? Will, the dickhead husband who died. And he's the burnt-up, fire demon Deadite version of himself here. And I was a wee bit mixed with this as well, if I'm being honest. The imagery's cool, the smoke, there was like red lights, the sky was all red, burning house, forest, it's snowy outside. But the final Deadite form really just didn't work for me at all. It was pretty generic. No awful, no terrible, but just doesn't like stick in the brain like it should. And as I said at the beginning, that's actually one of my biggest issues with Burn overall. The modern Deadites are really cool. The eyes look mental, violence is brutal, and the gore is excellent. But I do miss that old Deadite look with the pure white eyes. The voice work, I feel like there was just something different with the voices. The laughter, the fact that they'll just torture you emotionally and then laugh in your face about it. Deadites are part comedian, basically. And yes, as I've described, you do get some of that in this film, but it feels like it just needs cranked up a wee bit. Deadites should be having the time of their life, ruining yours. Anyway, Alice is running about, and then eventually she stumbles upon like this construction site again. Will is chasing her. She falls down this hole, and then there's like these spikes coming out the hole, and it goes through her leg. Gross. And Will is here, and again, I'm just like, right, she's got the dagger. Use it. Please use it against him for the love of all things pure on this earth. Use it. Use it! He starts pouring red hot tar in, but instead she throws the dagger into this red hot tar that he was pouring into the hole to get her, and then she tells him to go and get it. I was like, what? Why do that? Why would you do that? Why? You've made the action to throw it, so you can do the action to, like, why are you doing this? I know, obviously, the film wants a bigger finale, right? That's why. It wants the construction site Evil Dead weapon moment. Needs a chainsaw, maybe? Well, anyway, she's got like this rope thing like hanging down, so she pulls it, and then you see there's like a chainsaw and this jackhammer thing sitting on it, and obviously you think, right, here we go, chainsaw, but they're like, oh no, we've got you thought it was the chainsaw, and it's not going to be the chainsaw, it's the jackhammer. So the jackhammer falls down, and like, I get what they're doing. You're trying to be different, no just here comes the chainsaw again, but it just felt a wee bit like, we need a chainsaw scene, but let's not do the chainsaw. Use something else. Also, make sure the dagger gets lost again. And see when she finds it, make her chuck it. Aye, just make her chuck it. But eventually, Alice jackhammers Will, then finally gets him with the dagger. The emotional point is obvious. She's finally destroying the abusive husband, all the vows, the family curse, the hold that he had over her, all of that. Broken. But the execution just felt fucking messy and rushed to me. By the end, I was still enjoying the mayhem, but I was just noticing these joins. It was like the first 60, about 70% of this film feels like it knows exactly what it's doing. But the last stretch just feels like it's trying to throw everything in it, like all at once, and just missing. It's almost like it's panicking, and it all gets a bit much. So after that, Alice crawls out to the road, police and paramedics arrive, and she ends up in an ambulance having a wee cigarette. Lovely. And to be fair, after that night, I'd be doing the exact same. So that's the end of the film. Or is it? We have not one, but two post-credit scenes. First one up, the Gran. She's back. She's crawling along the road, cut in half, and someone stops to help, and the Gran just kind of like flies for them. I don't think I would get out of the car if I saw that. A wee old lady in half crawling along the road with a big long snail trail of blood behind her. You ain't a fucking laugh. Absolutely not. I would phone an ambulance. Then, the second post-credit scene. This is where it gets a wee bit more interesting. We're back at the funeral home and there's a wee lassie and then we see Ellie's ashes. So at this point I'm like, is that her for the last one? Evil Dead Rise? Aye, it was her. The wee lassie starts to hear a kind little voice, familiar, and Ellie appears in Deadite form, which confirmed, or I think it confirms, that Evil Dead Burn is not just connected by a wee lake scene. There's more to it. It's actively pulling Evil Dead Rise into the story. And this scene is pretty brutal. Ellie like smashes the wee lassie, breaks her neck, blood sprays everywhere. The film just goes out. By the way, we're not done. But being honest, the scene did also confuse me because Ellie got absolutely mangled in Evil Dead Rise. She was part of that big giant final Deadite creature that got like mulched. So how is she here full bodied again? Saying that, Evil Ash in Army of Darkness, he was cut into loads of wee bits and just his body went back to normal. So we know it's possible, but how did she get like that? Was this an earlier point we've not seen yet? Obviously it is. Maybe the next film explains it, maybe it won't. I know there's Evil Dead Wrath coming out next year, which is meant to be a prequel though, so I don't know if that will really tie in. But honestly, the ideas were absolutely spinning around my head. Like, I want to know fucking more. It did get me fucking really excited. Now, overall, what really worked? The opening is class, the lake, the head, the boiling water, car crash, all of that, amazing. The house is brilliant, the snow is brilliant. It gives the film its own visual identity. Like, inject that shit into my eyeballs right now. The gore is mostly excellent. The fingers in the car door, the headrest, the dishwasher, the ear pen, aye, it all worked fantastically well. They were very creative in their brutality. The acting as well, like, they all done a tremendous job. Like, you fully believe their characters. And I've spoke about all the positives, like, throughout the film. So just to get into the negatives, right? Overall, I feel like the film is just a bit too serious. Not all the Evil Deads need to be like Evil Dead 2. Like, I get that. 2013's Evil Dead is brutal and mostly serious, and I love that film. Brutality in that is just like never ending, which is quite funny. Evil Dead Rise, it was a wee bit more serious, but I feel like there was just that constant like Lee Cronin humour tone all throughout it. And Evil Dead Burn, it almost felt like it was just trying to like out brutalise everything else. And I've seen a lot of reviewers and people say that it is the most savage, the most brutal Evil Dead out there. But I don't know if it is. I didn't think I would agree with that. I mean, it's probably close, but no, I wouldn't say it's like the most brutal or anything. Maybe the other ones you don't notice as much of the brutality because there is like a lot more humour in it. I don't know. And I'll no harp on again about the perfect Deadite, but they should be humorous. You need the mockery. You need the Deadites enjoying themselves. A wee bit of like slapstick cruelty. And as I say, Burn does have bits of it, but just no enough for me. Also, right, now this is the third film where the protagonist has been female, which, again, I'm all for that, right? As long as the character's actually good and it makes sense, I couldn't give a shit. But every single man in this film was an arsehole in some way. So I feel like it's just, I could be reading too much into this, but I've saw it happen with other films where it's like, women good, men bad. And it's like, I mean, look, Will, right? He was a horrible, horrible, abusive bastard. Edgar, the dad, like controlling, total dickhead. And then Joseph was a massive shitebag who abandons his girlfriend when she actually needs him most. And I get that's like kind of fits the story. The film is clearly dealing with like abuse, family control, Alice being trapped in this like terrible family, all of that. But it kind of, it's on the verge of bothering me a wee bit. And I'm not saying we need like Ash back every single time, obviously not. As I say, like I loved Mia, I loved Beth, but I would like the next one to like mix it up a wee bit, give us like a decent male character or a mixed group. Oh, and finally, the Kandarian Dagger logic really bugged me because once Alice has it, every single scene becomes, why is she not using it? And I hate when like you need to ask those types of questions so many times. Happened on the roof, happened with Will, happened in the tar. It happened like a few more times with the mum and Edgar. I feel like you can absolutely write around that, but the film doesn't do that. Oh aye, and one final thing, the CGI towards the end looked shit. You didn't have to do that. The burning and like, it wasn't the worst CGI, but it was noticeable enough just to shit me right back onto the seat rather than being there. Like, when it goes too digital, it loses some of that homemade charm. Personally, I think Evil Dead Rise was better. I know a lot of people will probably disagree with that, but Evil Dead Rise just felt tighter overall to me. So I still really liked Evil Dead Burn. It's brutal, creative, there's a lot of gross set pieces and scenes, and there's plenty in there for Evil Dead fans to enjoy. The opening was class, the snow was amazing. We've got Deadites in the snow. I will forever love it just for that reason. And the house itself had a like horrible wee identity of its own. I do really like how it starts pulling threads from Rise and the sort of wider Evil Dead lore as well. But it's not the full package for me. As I say, the first like 70% totally had me hooked, and the other 30% did still have good moments, but it just gets messier and it starts feeling a wee bit rushed, and it's like it's trying to juggle too much at once. Scoring wise, I did do a one breath review on this. I gave it 7.5 out of 10 ghoulies, and I do stand by that. Go and check that out if you just want the silly wee fun version. Probably should have told you that at the start, but for the full review, I'll put it this way, right? Evil Dead Burn is not top tier Evil Dead, but it's still a bloody good time. And if Burn and Rise are now properly connected, I am absolutely here for whatever happens next. But let me know what you thought. Did Evil Dead Burn work for you? Did you have any different takes or thoughts or feelings or whatever the fuck it is compared to me? And let me know if you want Evil Dead to like go bigger with the crossover stuff. I'd be very interested to hear that. There's so many fan theories out there, which I think would work immensely. Or would you just prefer it to stay as its separate own little pocket of Deadite hell? But aye, fire it in the comments and let me know. And if you've stuck it out this long, thank you very, very much for watching. It is very much appreciated, you sitting listening to my fucking ramblings. Really do appreciate it. And remember, don't read the book, don't play the tape, and do not trust the lake. And see if anybody serves you mashed totties like that. Throw it up against the wall and walk out immediately. Right, stay rotten, and I'll catch yous later.